Hey folks, Alan Mandic, the Hot Rod Hippie here. This week's video is a not so serious topic. We're going to be taking a look at this people say when they're trying to sell cars on Craigslist. And I'm going to tell you what I personally think you should do if you're actually looking to buy a car. So let's check it out. Now this isn't about me picking on people. I'm going to try and hide information here and there as I can. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is more so to educate you on what you should look out for and where you should really be starting from when you're looking to build a project car or restore a car for yourself. I'm going to go over some of that information later on in the video. Believe me, this is for your benefit and mine. I deal with this all the time where customers bring me a car that they never should have bought to begin with. It was too much of a project. They could have saved themselves a lot of time, hassle, and money if they had spent a little bit more on the car they were starting with than buying whatever cheap deal came along. So let's go ahead and get into this right now. First and foremost, we got this 1941 Ford Super Deluxe two-door sedan. This one has the old classic ran when parked. 1941 Ford Super Deluxe two-door sedan, original flathead engine, ran when parked 10 years ago, motor now stuck. I don't care if it ran when it was parked. You're never going to free that up and get it to run completely properly again. May you be able to get it to run? Sure, but it's probably going to smoke. It's probably going to lose some compression. I'm not saying this one's actually that bad of a car or a starting point. 3,500 bucks for this car. It's not that bad, especially if you're willing to go through the engine. I just hate it when people go ahead and dive in with that. Well, it ran when it parked, even though the motor's seized now, but it ran when it was parked. Next one is another old standby, surface rust. We've got a 1941 Chevrolet Special Deluxe sedan. Only $3,400 for this one. Solid car, only surface rust. Here's the picture of this car. The entire car is surface rust. I noticed there are no pictures of the underside of this car, all from up above, and the entire car is surface rust. Surface rust is still rust. It is still material being removed from the car. Those panels are no longer as thick as they once were, especially once you sandblast it, sand it down, get it to a point where that surface rust isn't on that panel anymore. You've removed thousands from that material. The whole car is now thinner as a result. Next up is a 1961 Pontiac Tempest Wagon. It's a rare color. This one's another one that, car is a solid survivor from dry Montana. Montana is known for snow. I don't understand how Montana is dry. But what this thing has more so going for it is rust. The dog leg behind the rear door in front of the rear tire is rotted the hell out. They have a picture of it right here. How is the car solid if you are clearly showing the rust? The biggest deal, this one's down in Pennsylvania. I searched that area because I know the laws down there, because that's where I'm from. This one has no title. Coming out of Montana, I wonder if it ever had a title coming from Montana to Pennsylvania. If it never did, you never had a Pennsylvania title, you're not going to be able to just search for a title, go through a missing title process in Pennsylvania. No title is a big deal. Do not buy a no title car unless you just need it for parts, and even then that's really tricky nowadays because a lot of junkyards will not take your shell or anything. Even if they can discern that what you're bringing them is a chopped up car, they're going to want a title for that car because they don't want to get stuck with something you chopped up that you stole. That is a real serious issue that is common in today's world. But along with that, it's not that easy to just get a title. People who sell cars love to say, well, you know, it'll be really easy for you to get a title. I'm just selling it without the title. Well, if it was really easy for me to get a title, why didn't you get the title? And you may end up having to do a salvage title, which is a whole drawn out process. It's expensive, it takes longer, you have to document your full build, you have to fully build the car, and then hope they're going to issue you a title at the end of it because that's the way it works. You need to fully build the car so it's ready to roll, get down the street, have it inspected multiple times. It's a drawn out process. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. It's done very often, but it's not as simple as no title, just go ahead and get a title for it. Bear that in mind when you're looking at a cheap project car. Next up is a 1970 Chevelle SS body. The big thing that this seller is hanging their hat on is this is a true SS car. They don't have paperwork to back that up. They don't have a title to back that up. So they're not asking a crazy price, $2,200 bucks. Not the end of the world. Okay. But this car needs absolutely everything. And they even say that in the ad. The floor pan is rotted out. The firewall is showing quite heavy surface rust, so I'd really question what's happening between the flanges on that. The quarter panels are destroyed on this thing. The trunk floor is rotted out. The firewall and toe board are showing some pretty heavy rust. As far as I can tell, this car needs everything from the roof down. The point about this one is just quite simply that for $2,200, you are looking at tens of thousands of dollars worth of work necessary on this car to get it right. And at the end of the day, you're going to be running into a really tricky situation there. Trying to sell a true SS without a title, if you have to go through the salvage title process, that immediately kills all the value of it being a true SS, because you didn't have the original title, the value isn't there. You're getting into a whole can of worms with this project. Somebody brought me this one because they thought this was going to be a good investment, and let's face it, if you're buying a true SS, you're thinking investment terms. This car is not going to be worth $120,000 when you're done, and it's going to cost at least that to fix it up if you're really doing it right. And if you're building a car that you want to be an investment car, you have to do it right. I wouldn't touch this one if it was me. $2,200 is $2,200 too much. And last but not least, we've got this 1967 Mustang Fastback. Fastbacks are expensive cars on the whole. I've seen rotted ones go for like $20,000. So this one at $24,500 sounds like a decent deal. They're calling this a project car. I think of it as a core for restoration. That really throws up a red flag to me. They're telling you this car needs to be restored. Clearly the paint on it is really not particularly good. It needs a full paint job. It's a solid car. These solid cars do still exist. What I'm noting here is that all the photos of this thing, when they show the VIN plate and they show things, they're really selective about what they're showing. They're really cropped in a lot more than they need to be. Even if this car is truly solid, they're not demonstrating that particularly well to me. Common areas of rust on these cars are the front frame rails, the undersides of the cowls, the trunk drop-offs in the back of the car, the rear frame rails, the rear panel underneath the trunk panel, and the pictures don't show any of that. They show the floor pans looking decent with just some surface rust, but they don't show any of the areas that are common to rust on this car, and that really is a big red flag to me. This one, I can't definitely say that this is a bad project to start with. This looks like it very well may be a decent starting point for a good fastback car. At $24,000 though, it seems like an awfully pricey starting point for one that really I have questions about. I would definitely need to see that one in person, and that's where we're going to continue this discussion here. What should you do if you're actually looking to buy a project car? Plain and simple, get a second opinion. Many shops will gladly take a look at a car for you. They're more than likely going to charge you unless you have a working relationship with them already, but that could really save you a lot of money in the long run. If you're buying a $20,000 car, what's a couple $100s to have a professional who knows what they're looking at look at it before you buy it? It could save you a lot of headache in the future. I see it so many times where a customer shows up at the shop with a car they just bought, they're so excited about, they just have one or two minor issues with it. And it turns out that they bought a real lemon. They bought a thing that was just polished up turd that somebody was trying to sell. It's gonna cost so much to fix it. Then they get mad at us because, well, I'm spending so much money with you on this car that I just bought. It's not my fault that you bought a bad car. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Find yourself a qualified auto restorer, somebody who knows what they're doing when they're looking at a project, to take a look at a car with you. Now, more than likely, they are not going to go to the project, going to go to this car with you to take a look at it. They're going to want you to bring it to them. You got to work out that with whoever you're trying to buy a car from. But if they're not willing to let you have somebody take a look at it, there's a huge red flag. I love project cars. I love teaching you folks. I hope I can teach you to do these things for yourself, but not everybody is always capable of doing every step of the process. Personally, I don't paint. I don't ever want to paint. I hope to bring in some folks on this channel maybe to talk about painting and discuss that with you, people who are already experts in that, but it's not my field. It's not what I do. So if I need a car painted, I need to think about that. All right, folks, I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you got what I was going for with this video. Go ahead and drop a like if you found it interesting. Let me know in the comments down below. What kind of crazy Craigslist stories do you have? Have you bought some real lemons off of there? Have you gotten some real steals? Let me know about them in the comments down below. Go ahead and check out my Patreon account, patreon.com/hotrodhippie. That will directly support this channel, help me to bring the content you folks want every week. Subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all that content. We just hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming around, folks.